It would be nice to be able to sit down. My name is Amonde, former Kenya Rugby captain, strong KCB player, long-serving rugby player. Everything about me is rugby, so I've been in rugby for a very long time, and I've served this country to my level best. I think I've left my shirt at a better place than I found it. And that is the truth. I think the biggest challenge when I started sports, from my youngest inspiration when I started from basketball. I used to play basketball in high school, and I was lucky enough to have a very strong mentor, somebody who taught us very well. Our former sports teacher, Michael Bonya, he was our sports teacher in school boys. That's where I started my sport, and that's where I made my ethics, everything about me back in Kisumu. So my life has been about inspiration and the things that I've done for myself and the things that people have helped me to be able to achieve. I'll start from where I started. I'll give you my career pathway, why I chose rugby. From high school, I played basketball. I never got a chance to play rugby in high school, so boys don't play much rugby. At that time when we were there, for now they play rugby. I started rugby very late, and it's something that I think affected me on my playing career. I was not that skillful. If you're in sport is something that is taught when you're still young. You're able to learn the basic skills that you need to be able to perform well in the sport. So I was not lucky enough to start rugby at an early age, but one thing kept on driving me from what I've learned from other sports, the things that you were able to do as a sportsman. Those are the things that kept on driving me to be the product I become today. So always talking about being a product. It's not something that you just wake up and it's not magic. Right? Somebody told me that it was magic. It's not magic. It doesn't happen once. It's something that takes time, and there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of success, and there's a lot of failure. So in your failures, those are the times you're able to pick yourself, learn from the things that did not work for you, and make yourself better and be able to prosper as a sportsman. So from my career, I started very late, as I told you, and it was very hard for me to get into the national team. So I started my playing. I finished my high school in 2003. I joined a rugby club because that's the only thing that was happening back home at that time. So there was no more basketball for me. I ended up getting into rugby. So from there, I started from a small club, Kisumu FC. It's a small club back in Kisumu. That's where I started my journey as a rugby player. When I go to rugby, I would say I had a physique that attracted those guys to try and bring me into the sport. So they encouraged me to try rugby. From my hard work, from my kind of ethics that I was able to learn from basketball. Those are the things that drove me to be able to learn a lot from rugby. So the biggest thing for me was being the young man. For me was being open to learning, because rugby was new for me. It was not something that I was used to. There's a lot of skills that is needed to play rugby, and there's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of time that you need to spend on yourself to be able to fit into a rugby field. So it took me time, it took me a lot of time. This is something that people have never known, that I never played rugby in high school. So people who played rugby in high school had a step before me when we got into the club level. So it was very hard for me. But one thing kept on driving me, is this big dream that I had. From when I was a child, we lived next to the airport, and I'd never boarded a plane. And that is something that every time the players kept on passing, I kept looking at them and I wondered where was the train heading to. I could see it landing at the airport, and I could see it taking over and going on the spray in the clouds. So that is something that inspired me so much. I kept on wondering where the plane was going to. And this is something that I took up as myself, pushed myself, knowing that one day I'll know where that plane is heading to, and I'll be one of the guys who will be inside the plane or driving it, or being a pilot or doing something next to the plane. So I kept on working very hard on myself as a sportsman. I pushed myself, worked extra hard. The biggest thing for a sportsman is the extra work that you put on yourself. Not what the coach does to you, but what you do for yourself. The discipline on yourself, the sacrifices that you make to be able to fit into a sport career and how you relate to the other sportsmen. That's the biggest thing for me as a sportsman. And I think those are the things that were able to push me to be an example to most of the sportsmen. So, pushing on, I started playing rugby in Kisumu FC, joined the league, played for a small club that was being beaten by every club. A big learning step for me because I kept from those losses, I was able to know there are things that I need to do for myself to be able to fit into the biggest club that were playing at that time. So I was lucky enough, I was big physically. I'd done extra work on myself, so I was more a physical player than anybody else in the team. So this thing marked me a place to be able to be called up in one of the biggest teams. I ended up being called up from Kisumu FC to come and join KCB Rugby in 2006. So that's where I started my elite journey as an elite sportsman, because at KCB things are different. Because Oliver is talking about having a product that is different, a product that is well sponsored, and those are the things that are put for sportsmen that make a difference between a team that is building and a team that wants to inspire and be able to win. So KCB had a good culture of winning, and so when I got to KCB, that was another challenge for me, because I got myself into an elite program with elite players with less fundamental about the sport. So for me, it was still about learning. It took me time to be able to fit into KCB. But the biggest thing for me, I had a big heart, a learning heart. I did my research, I kept on working hard. I could go watch games on videos. I could see what the other players were doing differently that I could not do. I kept on working on my skills. I earned my place at KCB. I started playing at the first team. I ended up being called up to the Kenya team. So that's how my journey started. In 2006, I got a call up to play for Kenya 15s in Uganda. And then same year, I got a call up to join Kenya 7s. So I played my rugby for Kenya 7s for the last 16 years. And I've been the captain for Kenya 7s for 9 years. I would say it was not an easy feat, and it's not an easy thing to achieve. But through the hard work, through the people who were around me, through my coaches, the people who were able to push me to go to the next level, because there are a lot of challenges. Because your basketball team is now facing challenges. It's the financial challenges. They need to go to the next level. So it's not something that is going to come one day when we decide that we are going to go to the next level. It will take a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifices that will come from the coaches, from the players, and then from the people who are managing you. Because from me, from where I come from, I believe that if players are able to produce themselves and make themselves to be that product, there are other people who are supposed to also be working for the team to be able to take the team to the next level. It's not supposed to be the players who are also involved in getting themselves to the next level, but they have done their part as being players and winning games. Because I've heard from the coach they are playing in the league, they are already a product. If Oliver is able to push you guys to be a product that can be able to get that corporate support, that's a plus for the team, and that's where our team can be able to succeed. I played for clubs that didn't have support and a club that has support. And there's a very big difference. You can see a club that has support, how they perform. KCB has been able to win the league on a consecutive line for 6 years. Because they have the support, they're able to retain their players, they're able to treat their players on better grounds, they're able to send their players to South Africa for better training, and they're able to get their coaches to learn from the best. So if you're trying to build a team, it takes a lot from, it's not a mean feat, it's not something that happens in a day. It's a lot of budgeting, it's a lot of sacrifices, it's a lot of things that needs to be put in the table for a team to be able to succeed. So for me, I have a dream. So for me now is to try and inspire the next generation. I try and talk to the next generation of sportsmen, and we've started an academy for young guys who are involved in rugby, mostly rugby and other sports and athletes, to try and bridge the gap that some of us didn't have an opportunity to go through. The basic skills of rugby and the basic skills that they need to learn, the basic things that they need to learn for them to be able to get into the elite sports environment and be able to fit into clubs. So that's what we're doing now. We are inspiring young guys, we're inspiring very young guys from 8 years. We have an academy for 8-year-old kids where we're working with kids so that we're able to bridge. Because Oliver told us rugby was an elite sport before, next to football. I think football still lost that because football is played everywhere in Kenya. Rugby is only played mostly in Rugby and some part of Nakuru and Kakamega. So we are trying to make rugby an elite sport that can be able to be played by everyone at every point. I remember Nazarene had a very good team, rugby team. I don't know if they still have the team because they missed to play most of the local circuit that we play. So we are not sure if Nazarene still runs their rugby club. But those are the things we are trying to bridge in and to be able to promote our sports and to take it to the next level and to see our sports grow as a country. Most of the times when I speak in front of people, I like to have people ask me what they think or what they need to know. And when I do, I don't talk most of the time because it's hard to just come out and tell you everything, but there are things that people always want to know and request. That's how I get to talk to people. And if anybody has a question, I think this is the time I can be able to try and answer.
When people look at sports from the side of victory.
Yes.
But just as in life,
yes,
failure has very good lessons. So what has failure taught you about sports, about life, about the man you become?
I think failure is the biggest thing in sports because nobody gets into a sport to win every game. Because every time you win, there's nothing you learn from sports. So the day you keep on failing, that's the day you need to wake up very early in the morning, put on the extra work, push yourself in the gym, ask more questions of the coach, try and push yourself. Those are the things that we've come to learn. I think for me, what failure has taught me is there's life after sports. Because every time we fail as a team, we've put on the effort, we've put on the hard work, we've sacrificed most of the things, we've gone out to represent the country, and we've failed miserably. Like the recent time we went to the Olympics, we've gone to the Olympics twice. We went to Tokyo and we went to Rio. The first time we went to the Olympics was Rio. And the biggest challenge, the biggest thing for us when we went to Rio, we had already won Singapore. We had all the stars in the team, Kinjera, Humphrey. We had a very good team. When we went to Olympics, we lost every game that we played in the Olympics. That was a big shatter for us because that was the ultimate team that we thought Kenya would ever have, that we wouldn't beat anyone. But when we went to the Olympics, we lost every game. So that failure pushed us, and we were able to work very hard and got ourselves qualifying for the next Olympic, thinking that we'd also go out and perform very well. Unfortunately, when we got to that Olympic, we were only able to win one game. So it's not all the sacrifice you make that will always make you succeed. Success is just going to that Olympics. That's one thing that we came to learn. Just taking part to that Olympic was a plus for us. So knowing that we were able to go out, present the country, put our best foot before, put our best foot in front and do our best, that was all that was needed from us. And I think that is something we've come to just settle with and say that we gave out our best and we were not able to succeed because we had not reached that level. We had not taken our team to be able to compete to that next level because we are trying to inspire the next generation. When they go to the next Olympics, that will be in 2026, it's not a walk in the park. It's going to be hard work and it's a sacrifice that starts 4 years from the Olympics. It's not something that starts a week to the Olympics like we've done in the recent past. So these are lessons we have picked, and that's how we're trying to inspire ourselves. That is how we've made ourselves better.
Quick question. Would you choose skill or hard work? If you're supposed to choose a player, skill or hard work?
Skills are fundamental in sports, but a hard-working player is a plus in the ground. A hard-working player will give you 100% of what he has and will bring you out of a situation where you never thought you'd be in a game. So I would say hard work comes first for us because if you look at our way of thinking, the biggest thing that pushes us is hard work and skill. It's hard work, and you work hard, and then the skills will just come.
Okay. Another question. After how long did it take you? Okay, good. How long did it take you for your hard work, your efforts to start paying off? Like, when did you realize that you're maybe just maybe I'm good at this thing? Like, because there's some people who it's not for you.
Yeah. I think mine, from what I've said, I was big, physically I was big, and that is something that favors you in rugby. Like, if you are tall, you know that it will favor you in basketball, so you just need to work on your skills. So, the biggest thing for me, it took me like 3 years to be able to fit into a club. I came from Kisumu, played for Kisumu for 2 years. The third year I ended up being called up to play for KCB. KCB was more elite, and in that 3 years, I worked out on some of the skills, and I was not that good enough at that time. And I know that because I was still very fresh, and I was still doing some of the small mistakes that you would expect a kid to make. And it took me time. I would say 2013. That's when I was fully ready to be able to present the country. And from 2006 to 2013 in the national team, that's the time I was able to run my sports, make myself a captain, work very hard, and be the person I've become today.
Yeah, thank you. Now, as a sportsman,
Yes.
today, if you are given that opportunity to generally have those people, the upcoming generation,
Yes.
something that we never experienced, that not experience, what would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing for sportsmen is just, if you want to join in sports, it's not an easy thing. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifices from your side. It will take your time. It will block you from the normal life of a person. You will not be a normal person. You will not be drinking normally as other people drink. You will not be going out as the normal people go out. Because there's a lot of sacrifices that go behind sports. So some of these disciplines are the things that people lack to do to be able to get into that elite level. Because when I say we're talking about elite level, some of our clubs, they don't represent themselves at an elite level. They just take part of these games. But when you push that yourself to get into the elite, when you are needed to, you are paid to be successful. You need to be successful to be paid. That is the time you know that you're close to the elite level. Because that's when you make a living from sport. You are on an elite level. So that is the time that we try and encourage people. You want to cross to be a normal sportsman who just takes part in sports for the end of the day to just be fit, or you want to go close to be an elite level. So most of the people, I think, most of the sportsmen today, people are closing to be an elite sports people. Like you're playing to take your basketball to an elite level. So it takes a lot of sacrifice. That is something that the players must be able to do, the management of the school must be able to do to be able to make them successful.
Okay, my question is, do you believe in direct sacrifice when it comes to sports people, especially the elite level? That is, do you believe in direct sacrifice to get your body where it's supposed to be when it comes to being the best when it comes to sports as an elite sports person?
I think that is a key thing in sports. Any elite player will tell you there are certain things that you cannot take into your pre-season or when you are in season. So those are things that people, the sacrifices that we are talking about, there are certain meals that you will not be able to enjoy. There are certain foods that you know that sometimes that you will be cut off from when let me say, a certain level that you're supposed to reach. So there are sacrifices on food that you make, and you have to follow a very strict diet to be able to perform at an elite level.
I'm sure when you join the national team,
Yes.
there are a lot of elite players, and how do you manage to lead them? Leading a team, the lead players is not leading.
I think when I joined, I was not a captain. There was that process that we went through. I was able to see what other leaders they did. I was able to pick myself. I was able to get my place, because when you get to a place, you have to be very comfortable and be be able to be seen to earn that needed respect that everybody will be giving you as a team captain. So when I joined, I was also a rookie at the sub level. I was able to see what the other leaders done. So by the time I was being named the captain, I had enough experience and I was able to learn from others and to be able just to pick up from, working with elite players is very easy because they have one thing, it's just to be able to succeed. So it's easy to just push them to the next level and advise them from what you've learned from the past.
Okay, transition is a process we all go through in sport. When you're coming from Kisumu, Rugby to KCB, then from KCB to national team, big teams, then 15s to 7. You see that is the process of transition. How did you manage your pressure? There was pressure.
There's a lot of pressure playing both codes of game, the 15s and 7s, because 15s is played by 15 people, and then 7s is played by only 7 people, and they're very fast people, very fast athletes. So one thing that favored me, I was very fast. I was very physical, and it favored me on both courts, so I was able to fit in very well. And from what I learned is, I got mentored by very good players. When I got to KCB, I met very elite players who had played for many years and who are all part of the national team. So learning from them and just knowing how they're following the footpath on what they did and what they didn't do, and what I needed to do for myself to be able to just be like them, to be on the other side of the national team. It helped me a lot on my career. So that like copying what somebody else has done. So I was able to copy some of the things that I copied from other elite players. And I got myself covered, and that's how I made myself to be. And plus what you're able to do as yourself, as an individual. Those are the things that push you to the next level.
One more question. During your journey, have you ever come through discouragement from your loved ones? Let's say your parents, maybe they're not interested in sports. You see, they want you to study. How did you?
I think this is the hardest thing that I had to do. My parents never knew that I used to play rugby until the first time I was named to travel with the national team. Because it was not something that was meant, because my parents knew I was a basketballer and a handball player. And by the time I was transitioning from handball to basketball, getting into rugby, it was like a peer thing in the estate. So by the time I was getting to an elite sports and playing for KCB, my parents didn't know about that. They knew I was in Nairobi studying. So by the time they realized one day my name is being mentioned, because when the national team is being named, it's named on TV. And my dad called me, "Hey, Amonde, I do have Amonde in your rugby also, you my son." Luckily, I got myself into rugby, got to learn some of the skills, got to do the needs. I'm in the national team, I'm going to Uganda to represent the country in the national team. That was a big surprise to my family. Although they did support it, but they came to just know that I'm playing, and they ended up supporting me, and they have been the biggest encouragement to date. They've pushed me all the way. They've helped me when I have doubt on myself, because rugby has a lot of challenges, like I was saying, injuries. There are times things are not working. You need those people, the closest people you can have, your family, your friends, who are able to encourage you when things are tough, because sports is tough. Let me tell you, when you get in sports, you are not going to win every game. There are times you are going to lose every game. There are times you are going to work very hard and you are not going to be rewarded. So those are the things that you must be ready to do as a sportsman. And you must be able to have those people, good friends, who are able to push you, to encourage you, and to take you to the right path when you need those moments.
Thank you. Again, who is your role model? You've been on the international stage. Who would you say is your role model and why? And also, you've interacted at the Olympic level with these elite teams.
Yes.
Which is the best team? And have you tried to find out what is in it for them, what they do,
Yes,
that others don't do, so that they separate themselves from the rest?
I think when I started playing, the biggest role model for me was a former player. I don't know if anybody knows him, Victor Sudi. He was a captain at that time when I started playing. He encouraged me, because people who get close to you and pull you closer to what you want to do. Those are the people who hold your hands, they show you the way, they show you, let you shine. They correct you when you do wrong things. They're able to bring you when you go break up the path. So Peter Subi was a big supporter for me. But my biggest role model that I've come to realize is my dad. My dad plays a very key role because there are times I thought I would quit rugby. But I remember there's a day he came to the hospital. I was admitted at Envisha. I'd broken my jaw. I was on all those pipes 3 months. So when my dad walked in, the first thing he told me, you get well and go back. That is the thing I was sportsman. So it's come from not knowing that I was playing to come and support me when I was down and push me, lift me up when I needed to be lifted up. So he's played his role. He's always been there. When I won the first cup, the first person to beat me at the airport was my dad. So he's been there. He's the biggest support that I have now. Yeah. The biggest team that, let me tell you, the most successful team is Fiji, because Fiji, like rugby, is the biggest sport in their country. So they have a very big pool of players, and they can a variety of very good players. And that is something that worked for many years, and that's the bridge that we're trying to now bridge from what we've learned from them. Start our rugby at an early age, because our elite players that we have now on our national team, the earliest they started was when they are in high school. So the biggest thing, I've gone to schools, most of our schools, their skill level is not at that par that you need a skill to be. Like if you go to Fiji or go to New Zealand, a 13-year-old, a 9-year-old is better skill than a player who's playing at our national team. So those are the bridges we are trying to now to break and see if we are able to cover and introduce our kids at an early age so that we are able to bridge that gap that we need to bridge for us to be an elite sport and be able to win the Olympics one day.
You said that you've been the captain for the national team. My question is, how is being the captain, does it mean that you're the best player in the team? And if not, how do you deal with yourself being maybe there's another more better player than you and you're the one who's in the game?
Being a captain does not mean that you're the best player in the field. Being a captain is being an example to others. Just a reminder of what they need to achieve. You are being able to remind guys, this is our goal, this is what we want to achieve, and this is the direction you're able to take. Having good players in a team is just being, because being in a team is a family. We believe it's our family. And there's a head, there are always wise people in a family. Let's say, how do we put it? Kuna mtu wajinga, warefu kwa family. But they still make that family. Without them, there's no family. So in a team, there are very good players, there are very, very talented players. But one captain will be able to guide these elite players, even if he's not at the same level as them. It's just a matter of being able to work hard and being able to give back to the team.
So you talked about having an injury for like 3 months or so.
Yes.
So I'm asking, like as a sportsman, like we've gone through injuries and we have like our lowest moments in sports.
Yes.
So if you don't mind sharing, like, the moment you felt like you feel like quitting and giving up on the game.
I thought of quitting because these sports, there are times, my story is different. I was called in the team in 2006. I never made the team to travel with the team until 2013. That's a period that I would go train, work hard, put on the effort, raise my hand, but never get picked. I would only be picked as an traveling player. Always on the bench, always on the bench. Until there were changes in the technical bench. This is the first time I got a collar. All this time, I thought of leaving rugby. I thought of doing something else. I thought of just getting a new thing from something else that I would do. I would be good in handball. I'd already been called up to play for Ulinzi, but I turned it down. I thought of just quitting, but I kept on working. People kept on pushing. You're a good player. Keep on doing this thing you're doing. Your time will come. Your time is still young. Your time will come. But when my time came, I was made the captain. I made all the tours. I traveled to every country. I was able to represent my country. I was the first captain to win the R&B circuit. So those things come. Your time comes. But the only thing that you have to remind yourself, you have to put in the hard work. It will never come on a silver plate that you are sitting and it will come to you. It's not magic, it's hard work.
Okay, with two questions.
Yeah.
First one, I think this is a big challenge for players nowadays.
Yeah.
Getting up there is so easy. You work one season, you're number one, you're very happy. But players tend to forget. Staying up there is where the problem comes. That's where the challenge is. So, how do you get yourself to stay up there season after season after season? And then the second question comes in. Again, winning is easy. Staying up there is easy, and that's where the brand is recognized. And most athletes tend to forget that when you're up there, everybody's targeting you. You're a target. You're like you're a bullseye, you, and every team is targeting you. And now the biggest challenge comes in when now you cannot maintain your status and stay up there, and now your brand comes to start falling down. How do you get your brand up there, especially for young players who aspire to be something greater than what they are right now?
Thank you, Coach. The biggest thing for me, keeping a team at the top. I told you before, I play for KCB. We've won the Kenya Cup for the last 5 years. We've lost our Kenya Cup the first time this year. We lost it to Cabras. It's been, let me tell you, we've been in a team that people have never lost for the last 5 years. Even people who came and joined us in between the years, there are players who have never lost a single game. So it's been something different, a different experience, but not for some of us who have been there for years. I played for KCB, I've won Kenya Cup for 9 years. I was going to win my 10th Kenya Cup and retire. And we lost the Kenya Cup to Cabras. So it's a journey. It's something that takes time, and it's something that a team has to adjust to. Winning is something that will make you be on the top, and knowing when you're on the top, everybody will be working very hard to meet you from the top. Not the refs, not your supporters, not the negative support that will come from. People will hate something when you're doing something good. So when you're winning, you'll get a lot of haters. They try to pull you down. So when you let some of these things break into the team, that's when a team breaks. But if you keep your focus, keep your hard work as hard as you used to work, even work more than you used to work when you got to the top. Make yourself an example to most of the teams. They'll never be able to support you. We lost this Kenya Cup, but we've come to understand why we lost it. And then I'm just hoping by the next time that we go play, we start our Kenya Cup in November, we'll be able to go back and retain our cup and see the difference that we did and what we've done differently this season. So it takes a lot of hard work, and it's not an easy journey. It's something that makes the team be a team when you're able to pull yourself when you're on top and pull yourself when you're down. So it's not a matter of teamwork, and the belief that everybody puts in the team, and the hard work and the sacrifices that you're able to make with the coaches, and the support. The biggest thing is the corporate support that we have. For us, what supports us is the motivation that they put for the financial motivation. Like for every game that we win, every player gets 20,000. That's a big motivation for every player. So motivation is a big thing in a team. So this comes with good corporates. When I'm telling you, good teams have good corporates that are able to put those things for them and make them work very hard. So when you have a motivation of winning each game, you play 16 games, you have like, how much? 120,000 for winning each game that you play. So that's a big motivation. You have a good sponsor that every time you have a good bonuses. Those bonuses push players to be able to put on the extra work and to be able to keep themselves on top. Knowing that at the end of it, every game I win, I'm going to get 20,000. At the end of the game, when I win the league, there's a bonus plan for me to be able to keep me up for the next 3 years. So those are big motivations, and those motivations come from the sponsorship. And the sponsorship comes from the product that Oliver was talking about. You must be a brand that somebody wants to sell, somebody wants to use, because sponsors people become brands. The more you're a bigger brand, the more you attract more corporates and to be able to get good sponsors.
Yeah, kwa majina naitwa Dena Wen. I'm from South Sudan.
Yes.
Swali yangu ni kama player, considering being in Kenya, umecheza for 16 years. So, vile unacheza nini kufanya ucheze for that long? That wewe kuna vitu huku nje zinaweza distract. So, ulimanage as a player, play for those 16 years. So, another question is, which was your worst experience as a rugby player, or in other terms, an injury that could limit you? How would you manage it?
Well, let me ask the last question first. Injury are part of sport. This is something that sportsmen and we must come and understand. You'll be fit, you'll get injury, you'll go aside. The big thing is the mental part of it. You have to know that you are injured, let your body rest, take your time, take care of yourself, don't indulge on some of the things that will derail your injury, your injury to recover, and keep your focus. There's a time that you need just your body needs to rest, that's why you pick up injuries. Sometimes we are lucky that we get some serious injuries that put us out of sports forever, but I've been lucky enough to be able to get very serious injuries, like I've broken my leg, I've broken my jaw, I've ruptured my hernia. Those are things that put you out for a very long time, but the discipline of knowing the things that you need to do for yourself to get yourself back stronger and better, because everybody believes, there's a saying that says that when you take your time off, you come back stronger and better than how you left. But not knowing that when you leave a team, before you come back, there's somebody who came in and was able to cover your place and be playing better than you. So you need also to know that when you come back, you'll not be the same person. It will take you time to work on your space and to be able to be where you are. And the reason I was able to play for long is because I dedicated myself to my sport. When I say dedication it was 100%. I never took the distractions. I never decided to go out when I needed to go and sleep. Because sleep is the biggest thing for sportsmen. The more you're able to sleep, the more you're able to rest, the better you'll be able to do most of the things in sports. So I dedicated myself fully into rugby. I worked very hard. I did my extra gym sessions. I did my extra videos. I was there with my coaches asking them questions. Wanted to know where I could get myself better, what I needed to do for myself to be that elite that I wanted to be. That player that everybody would look up to and say, that's the player you're supposed to be. So I kept on working very hard. It's not an easy thing. It's not something that somebody just walks and decides I'm not going to play. There are friends that will try and introduce me to rugby, but I tell you have to have good friends who are able to push you to that elite side. Who are able to encourage you. There's no need of having friends that will pull you away from what you want to achieve as a sportsman.
What advice would you give student athletes? Because some players feel like they can drop out and still make it in the line of sports.
I didn't get you.
I'm asking, what advice would you give student athletes? Because some players feel like they can drop out and still make it in the line of sports.
So education is a big thing for everybody, because this is something that there is no two way, because most of the sports that we play is not professional setup. It's amateur, let me say it's amateur way. So the biggest thing now in our country is for you to be able to focus on what you're doing and studying. Be at that moment and focus on what you need to do as a student, to be able to succeed as a student. Make the sacrifice, do your exercises, make sure you give the focus in your studies, because that is the key thing that you need after you're done in sports. So most of the people we're trying to encourage in rugby, the biggest thing that we're trying to push also is to get people to do their education, because our rugby is still in amateur level. The biggest thing that pushes them to the next thing, to make them the great people we are seeing them now, is their education. So education is a key thing. There's no two way about it, but there's a sacrifice you can make between the sports and education to be successful in both.
So you got to the epitome or the peak of your career, you're doing well, you're the king, you understand? Tabloids, newspaper, where do you say? how do you keep it? How do you stay humble with all that, the fame? You understand all that? As in, how do you stay humble to the point you can do all that and still manage to do your sports for 16 years? It's a hard thing.
It's not easy. Like I said, those are the things that you have to decide on an athlete. Going to an elite sport, being in an elite environment, you might get some encouragement from it because there are people who will be able to try and encourage you to keep your focus on what you need to achieve. That's why I say being in an amateur level, it's very hard because there are not those things that are written that will put you down or will try and put you down that will make you not want to make those sacrifices. Because at an amateur level, everybody plays at an amateur. You can go out, drink, come back in the middle of the night, get less sleep, and nothing will be done because you are in an amateur level. But at an elite level, lack of sleep is measured and it can be seen in your training. When you get the wrong food in your system can be measured and can be seen. And these are things that are repercussions of some of the things that I told you. When you get bonuses, there are fines that are put down that limit you. So there are sacrifices that you need to make as a team. There are goals that are set for you as a player that you are able to reach. And so if you are not able to reach them, there are things that are repercussions that come with it. And those are the things that drive some of us to be able to play for a very long time.
I'm a rugby player. Yes. So one of my questions is, you see some of these countries that are excelling in sports. Yes. Majorly the participants start in when they are at a tender age. Yes. Like some New Zealand, South Africa, and that country, and they have academies. Yes. Here in Kenya, when there's selection for under 19, under 20, we go for trials. Maybe these trials, we find someone 25 years, it's ready for the ID, with the birth certificate. Yes. So my question is, if let's assume that you are the president of Kenya, what are some of the changes that you would have made to sports?
So you see, every sportsman has a follower. Now we intend to start following them from high school to primary school. So we are able to have a good follow-up on a kid from when he was young, where he has gone to school, and how old is he? Because these are some of the things that have affected us before. Having older guys coming and play at 19 and somebody is over 25. So those are the things that we're trying to discourage. Just having genuine players who are below under 19 taking part in the under 19 tournaments and representing the country at under 19. So we're able to have that big base of players. As a president, the biggest thing for me is just introducing rugby at an early stage. That is the biggest thing that we're able to do to improve our rugby. Started at primary, started as level as nursery, just the touch and tag. It's a big thing that when you get into the elite level, you're able to play very well. You're very comfortable with the ball in hand. So if you're able to do that, it will be a success to this country in rugby.
I have one question.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to cut the question session because our time is well spent, and I encourage you that we shall be having a networking session after this, and we'll be having some snacks prepared for us. So during that time, if Amonde will still be around, I'm not sure because he was just from training, and I can imagine how he's feeling since I know he put in lots of work. But let's get these questions, and I can get the questions, and if he won't be there, because I know he might not be there because we need to listen, let's get the questions, then I'll channel to him, and he'll be able to respond. But my brother, I'd just like to say thank you for your presence and for coming. And you are an inspiration personally to me because I love your leadership. It stands out. I love your hard work. I love your consistency. And you can finish with this question. And you and Eliud Kipchoge stand out with consistency, hard work, and the ability to go back to that person who started or created the best foundation. Eliud has his coach. You have Coach Obonyo from Kisumu Boys. Why do you do that? And the final question is, you had a chance, lots of players right now making a quick decision to get into Lindsay, but you had a chance to go into Lindsay and you turned it down. What did that decision make different in your life?
I think from what I told you, having mentors is a big thing. My biggest mentor when I was in high school was Marco Bonio, as you have said. He was a games teacher who picked me from the classroom and saw the potential, the sports that I had in me, and put me into the field. And he put me into the basketball court. And I was able to build myself from the basketball court and build that sport mentality guy. So that sport mentality that was able to bring out the Amonde that people know in rugby now. It started from a very basic thing from basketball. I ended up being a rugby player. So the biggest encouragement that we try to tell people, there is no bad time or transitioning something in life. It's just a matter of you putting on the effort and working very hard towards it, and you will be successful in it. There's no leaping thing. I wanted to finish. Can I finish what I wanted to do? Remember I told you I had a dream, seeing the flight. Imagine I saw where that flight goes, and I've traveled to all the continents, in this country, in the world. I've been there because from that small dream that I had of seeing planes pass by, I would say that I've been able to live my dream. See that flight, the flights were, bought that flight that kept on passing by our home, know where it's headed to, and I was able to land with it where into most of the places that most of the people have not been blessed enough to be there. So it was a big blessing on myself because there's something that I've missed also to say that most of the things that we do, it's just through God. God has blessed us a lot, and without God, some of these things will not be possible. Because rugby is a game that you walk into the field and fall short and die. But we've walked in for the last, I've played rugby for the last 25 years. Gone in, come out, alive, gotten those serious injuries, gotten better, came back stronger, contended for my place, got my place. So it's still a matter of time and hard work from everyone.
Thank you so much.